Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're back on the Duramax build. Alright, the last time you saw this, we were actually lowering it onto the frame. Since then, I've made a lot of progress actually off camera, so just to kind of get you guys up to speed. So, the mechanical bits. So we reinstalled the turbo, we installed all of the intake piping, with the exception of the turbo intake. I still need to do that with a mass airflow sensor. So that's another step I need to get done before we can fire this thing up. Installed all of the exhaust manifolds, the up pipes, the down pipe. What else? I did all of the electrical braiding, or the looming. So I took all of the factory looming off. It was covered in dirt. Down to the bare wire, threw it in the ultrasonic sink, cleaned it up, and then re-loomed everything with this braided split loom. So down here, I don't think you can really see, installed the starter, tightened up all the flex plate bolts so the transmission is actually mechanically connected to the engine, or the torque converter is connected to the engine. So like I said in the last video, my goal is to get this guy running, but there are a number of steps that we need to do before that can happen. And one of those steps is getting the cooling system and the intercooler piping, all that stuff done. Now, I guess you don't technically need that stuff to run the engine, but I have to do it anyway, so I might as well get it done. All right, so to get this party started, I went to Summit and picked up a brand new core support. The one that I bought along with the truck was super rusted out in this area down here on both sides where the inner fender comes in and connects here. This was all pretty rusty in this seam, just where water gets in here and collects, and dirt and leaves and everything, and then eventually all this stuff kind of just gets rotted out. So I spent the money and bought a new one, and what we're going to be doing today is figuring out how to fit this radiator and this intercooler on the backside of this core support. So this is a stock radiator out of an LB7 or LLY truck. And this is a stock, slightly upgraded, more like a stock remanufacture. It's CSF, some of you guys should be familiar with that brand. They do like manufacturer replacement stuff. But anyway, this is a stock intercooler out of a LB7 LLY truck. Some of you guys are like, yeah, but that is an LBZ, so why are you putting LLY, LB7 stuff on an LBZ truck? Yeah, I know that the cooling capacity and the intercooler size for the earlier model Duramaxes are less than the LBZ, but I am very constrained by how much actual, physical space I have in order to mount these things. I actually did buy a LBZ radiator and intercooler, but it turns out that the LBZ trucks, their intercoolers and radiators are a little bit longer side to side, but they are much taller, so it sticks out like 3 or 4 inches over the top of the core support. So obviously that would not be compatible with any sort of hood. I mean, you could do it with a crazy body lift, but I'm trying to not body lift this truck because I just don't like the way that looks. So there is going to be some amount of fabrication required in order to get this to fit. So that's kind of what we're going to figure out today. All right, so I have the intercooler kind of mocked up on the core support. I did mark center line on the intercooler and center line on the core support. So I wanted to get that as close to center as I could, but I am running into some interference issues, as one might imagine when you're fitting a 2005 intercooler into a 1981 core support. But the interference is down here where the inner fender is going to mount to the core support. If I'm at center line, then this mounting dowel locator thing is all on top of that mounting location there. So I had to move it to the left about 1 inch in order to get it to work. So what I'm going to do now is mark the location of these dowels, punch a hole in the core support so that this is going to sit down a little lower. If you look at it from the side, I mean, it's fine, but I'd like for it to sit just a little bit lower. And we're not going to be using these mounting locations, so I'm just going to probably cut those off flush. And then maybe I can kind of use this, like maybe I can drill and tap a hole in here and make a bracket that goes over to secure the top of this guy to the core support. So we'll see if that works. I have the holes drilled in the bottom of the core support. So you can see the locating dowel sticking through there and over there on that side. I was able to find some rubber isolating material I put in there. It needs to get trimmed down. It's a little bit big, so I'll do that. But that's gonna work for now. And also, I used some cardboard aided design to come up with some simple little brackets. So like I said before, I'm gonna drill and tap a hole in this aluminum, and I'm gonna weld this bracket to the core support on this side. So that way I'd be able to, you know, get the core support out. You can just slide it forward and then lift it out of the holes. And then to put it in, just, you know, the reverse of that. So, all right, well, let's get these welded in. Got my welds done. Not my best work, but not too bad. This one looks a little worse. But they definitely aren't going anywhere, that is for sure. So now I'm gonna grab the intercooler over there and see if we can slide it in there. Excellent. All right, the intercooler is mounted. So I hacked off those upright portions so that this bracket would lay flat and screw down all the way. Same thing over here. So now everything is flat and clean and below the level of this ridge right here, which is where the hood kind of sits down on. So yeah, next is go ahead and mount the radiator to the intercooler. And what's cool about this setup is the radiator mounts to the intercooler. So we don't have to worry about any separate mounting or welding or bracket fabrication in order to get the radiator to go on. All right, let's do that. All right, I don't have any fasteners. I need M8 by 1 1/4 fasteners, so I'm gonna have to go grab those, but it's in. Boom, progress has been made. So I mocked everything up just to kind of get an idea of how much space I'm gonna have. And it's pretty tight, I'm gonna be honest. So if we take a look in here, first things that I'm noticing is the outlet of the intercooler and the inlet to the intake. There's going to be a pretty tight couple of ends there in order to make that work. The outlet of the radiator is down there, so I'm going to have to like 90 up and 90 over in order to get to the lower radiator hose. I have some stuff on order. I'll probably be able to get that done, no problem. On the other side, the upper radiator hose fits just fine, so that's not going to be an issue. And I think that the turbo outlet all the way to the intercooler inlet, that's going to be pretty close to the stock location, so that shouldn't be an issue. Tomorrow, we are going to be picking up a new cab. Well, a new to me cab anyway. So this is an 81 cab. It's pretty rust-free. But I was able to find a cab that is 100% rust-free.
You sure about that?
Just a couple hours away for a reasonable price. So I'm gonna go pick that up tomorrow and save myself a ton of rust repair and welding and body work. All right, guys, so we have made it back home with the new cab, but it is super bright out right now. So let me get this unloaded and into the shop, and then we'll take a walk around and check it out. All right, now that we're back in the shop, we can get a much better view of the old versus the new. As you can see on the original cab, we got a little bit of cancer, a little bit of rust in all the usual spots, floorboards, you know, and I bought replacement metal to fix all this stuff, but anyone who's done metal work and body work, you know, that's a super time-consuming process. But by comparison, this is the new cab. No rust in any of those areas. The floors are 100% solid. Rocker panels are solid. On the passenger side too, no rust whatsoever in any of the normal spots. Kick panels are all solid. Floors are all solid. Another spot that was pretty bad on the old cab was right in here where the air conditioning used to go. This spot under here normally rusts out. These holes get pretty rusty, but this is all solid. But it is not 100% rust free. There is this one super tiny spot right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can brighten that up a little bit. There you go. There's a little patch of rust here and a little patch right here that needs to get done, but we're talking just a few square inches right here and that'll be completely done. And I already have these panels because I plan on doing that on the other cab. All right, so I got both fenders on and it looks like I'm gonna have just enough space for a couple of electric fans in there. There's definitely not a whole lot of room, but the fans don't take up much space. I do need to pull some measurements just to make sure, but it looks like I have 5 or so inches of clearance between the radiator and the accessory drive. Now that I know that I have enough room, I'm gonna take the passenger side fender off so I got some space to actually work on that lower radiator hose. Okay, well, you can see that I had to take off more than just the passenger fender in order to get anything done. There's just no space. So what I was able to complete was the lower radiator hose. This is actually kind of a Frankenstein amalgamation of various lower radiator hoses. Some of this is from the LBZ, some of this is from the LB7 LLY motors. But I was able to make it work and it fits. I picked up these two Flexolite 16-inch fans from Summit. Let me give you the part number. Where is it at? Here's the part number right there. So it's a 16-inch FlexWave Polar Fan, 105-390. All right, so everybody enjoys a good unboxing video. So let's get these things opened up and see what they're all about. Have the fan, have the mounting hardware, and most importantly, we have the sticker. Gotta have a sticker. Oh, and the instructions. If you're the kind of person that reads instructions, I normally am not, and that's why I do things 5 or 7 times before I get it right. So I definitely want to make sure that these work before I go through the trouble of getting them installed. So I have here my Electric Fan Tester 3000, which is just jumper cables and a battery. Let me get this guy hooked up. Let's test this guy first. Whoa! So it turns out these things have quite a bit of torque. Let me hold this down. Oh wow, that is definitely moving some air, which is impressive because it's flat against this table. All right, well that one works. Okay, let's see about this guy. All right, learn my lesson, make sure you hold it down. Yep, seems to be working just fine. Sweet. Okay, so I have the electric fans kind of mocked up on the radiator right now, and I decided on this kind of staggered mounting setup just so that each one of these cooling channels has an opportunity to flow underneath an area that's being actively cooled by these fans. Maybe that's a more efficient mounting method or to get the best overall cooling. If there's an engineer out there that could let me know, that'd be awesome. Throw it down in the comments. All right, if you've never mounted an electric fan to a radiator before, it's actually pretty simple. You have these little sticks that are ribbed, and what you do is you just shove it through the mounting hole here, through the actual fins between the cooling channels of the radiator, all the way down, And then you have these little clips. Let's see if you can see that. These little clips right here. And then on the back side, you just run those clips up until it's really tight against the radiator. And then you just clip off the excess and you're done. And it's on there tight. Simple as that. All right, fans are on, so now I'm gonna reinstall the radiator. Not going crazy tight with these. You want to crack these plastic mounting tabs. Bap.
Hey babe, what's up?
Bap.
What do you need?
I need your muscles.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Rotate. Rotate. Pivot. Okay. Everything's mocked back up again. I have the driver's side fender on just to kind of locate where the core support is supposed to be. So I'm looking at everything and everything seems to fit. So the lower radiator hose fits just fine. Upper radiator hose fits just fine. I got clearance to all of my accessories, but one thing that is super close is the clearance between this fan and the power steering pulley. A 1/4 inch to 3/8 or so of clearance, which may be enough, it may not be enough. I may have to take and move this fan to the bottom location and move the other fan to the upper location since there's more room over there. So that may be something that I need to do, but I got to think about that. Overall, everything fits with no interference, so that's a good thing. All right, guys, that's where I'm going to call it for this episode. We're very, very close to having this thing running, so stay tuned. Also, I introduced this project in my last video. So this is my 1990 C1500 LS swap truck that will be turning into an autocross truck. So that's going to be a super exciting build. So stay tuned for that one as well. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.